Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to show you how you can color grade your D-Log M on your Pocket 3 and the I-Log on the Insta360 Ace Pro 2. I'm going to show you a very simple workflow in a software that is free, and that is Davinci Resolve. So if you're a Davinci Resolve user, then buckle up, because I'm going to show you the easiest and the most effective way to have full control over your log footage. Let's go. Now, before we get into this, there is a question I want to answer, because some of you asked, what are those extra files that the cameras create? So not just the MP3, but also the LRV or LRF files that are alongside your video files. Well, those are compressed, smaller resolution video files that you can use for uploading onto social media. So if you just change the ending from, let's say, LRV to MP4, you will get a video file, and that's going to be smaller in resolution, more compressed, and well, pretty much ready to use in your social media apps. So there you have it. That's what those extra files are. Now let's dive into Davinci Resolve, and I'm gonna show you the simple technique that you can use on any camera, so not just action cameras, even the full frame Sony. I'm using this technique as of recent, and it's really cool. Okay, so here I have two video files. One is shot with D-Log M and the other one is shot with I-Log. And this was from our trip to Bled. If you guys don't know where Bled is, it's a very wonderful, well, iconic place with the lake and the little island and the little church on the island. Well, if you're a landscape photographer, you've probably heard and seen some photos from Lake Bled. And well, this was our trip there. So here I'll be using just the two almost identical files. Of course, the Pocket 3 is more tight, more compressed, but let's head straight into the colors page. So I'm gonna do this first for D-Log M and then the same thing for I-Log. So this is our D-Log M clip. I'm just gonna increase this in size. So by default, we have one node, but if I press Alt and S, I can create, let's say, 4 more nodes. So I'm gonna put these two guys over here and these 3 on top. It doesn't really matter where you place them. So the first node, I'm going to label them so that you guys know what they are. Color space transform. We'll be transforming the colors from the video to something else, and then we're going to transform them back into the Rec 709. Now in the middle, I'm going to add a node called linear, and this is a very special node. So thank you, Qazis, for showing me this technique. I'll put a link to Qazis' channel down below, and you will also find links for the LUTs that I'll be using. So these are the official LUTs from Insta and DJI, and you can convert log into Rec 709, but it makes no sense to just convert them. You need to be able to adjust them before, so adjust the highlights, adjust the shadows. So here I'm going to show you how you can do this in a, well, more universal way, so you can apply this to any camera, and shot matching is not going to be a problem if you use this technique. So this node I'm going to call my LUT node. This is where I will apply the correction LUT, and finally I'm going to add sharpness, because whenever you're shooting log, you should always set your sharpness to the minimum. You'll be color grading in post. That means that you can apply sharpness in post as well, and it's going to always look better than the digital sharpening that cameras do internally. Okay, so the first node, I'm gonna go here under my effects, color space transform, and I'm going to transform the Rec 709 into my Davinci wide gamut. And then I'll go onto this node and apply a color space transform again and convert my Davinci wide gamut back into Rec 709. Now basically I've taken the initial color space, transformed it into something much wider, and then back into the original color space. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because the first color space that I went into can be, well, on action cameras it's Rec 709, but if I use a Sony full frame camera like I'm shooting right now, I have my S-Log 3. If you're using Canon, you have C-Log or whichever camera. So here you can actually input this information, transform the original color space that the video was shot in into Davinci's wide gamut. So this is the biggest color space of them all. Do all the tweaks there and then convert it into a Rec 709, which is the broadcast standard look, the broadcast standard color space. Every device can show Rec 709. Smartphones, monitors, TVs, you name it. Now what about this middle node here? Well, this is the special one. I'm gonna right click on it, go to Gamma, and use a linear gamma mathematics behind it. So this is going to take away all the functions from all of these wheels and put them just under gain. I do have to put this to 0, and I'm going to add a 0.335 for the pivot. Now you can save this as a template color grade, because you don't have to change this every time. You set it once and you can leave it as it is. Now this combines all of the color wheels into just one, the gain. So I can change my exposure by just changing the gain wheel, and this works similar like changing the exposure in camera, and I can control my white balance with just this knob. So I can go all the way to orange or all the way to blue. And the cool thing here is that it doesn't change the tone of the colors. I mean, it changes the warmth, but the white is still going to stay white, blacks are still going to stay black. So this is a more, I would say, professional way of doing things very simply. Okay, so let's color grade this guy. LUTs, DJI Pocket 3, I'm gonna put this over here. And under sharpness, I'm going to go here and put 0.47. So this is the default sharpening that I use, and I can show you the difference. So before, after, maybe even if I zoom in, you guys will see how much sharpness this adds. So before, after, you know, it's not that digital, it's more natural. So this is a really cool thing. So here I can now adjust my exposure with just this one slider. I can add contrast, and it does it in a very normal way, because the pivot set to 335 gives me that, you know, middle gray lock. So it locks middle grays to stay middle gray, and then it just changes the highlights and the shadows, which is a really cool thing. Okay, now let's apply the same color grade to the Insta file. So I'm just going to middle click on this guy, and I copy the whole node tree. Of course, I'm going to have to change the LUT node and put in the correct LUT. So Insta360 Ace Pro 2. There we go. Now this one is a bit darker, so what I am going to do is just lift up the gain. Slide like this, and there we go. So if I go back to my original timeline, the DJI Pocket 3 look and the Insta360 Ace Pro 2 look, and they're pretty much matched already. So I just had to tweak a little bit the exposure. Maybe I would have to tweak the white balance a little, but the workflow now for both of these clips is the same. So all I have to do is just change this one slider and my white balance. That's all I have to do, and I can match all of my video clips regardless of with which camera I shot them with, which is a really cool thing. Anyway, I hope you guys found this video interesting. If you did, hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel. If you're new, leave a comment down below. And if you want to stay on the channel and watch last week's video, then click on this one over here. Thank you, and I'll see you in this one. Bye bye.